Welcome to the Dice Box and the Fixers. We're probably going to have another short-ish session today because it was my first week at work this week and I just have ceased to can. But we need to at least get you guys out of Morocco and into Stuttgart, which is probably going to be an adventure in and of itself because we have Ketty, Suyin, and Rafe. Rafe in particular. Rafe, who's figured out now how Rafe is going to get played because I flagged up that Rafe's int score is the same as Grog's int score. I have an intelligence of 6. I know what I'm doing. So yeah, currently they're in their last evening in Morocco with their little mortal aide who they call her Ms. Kim. She didn't say whether it was a given name or a surname. It's Kim, and whether Ketty's right or wrong. If he's wrong, she's not correcting him, because there are some things you don't do to somebody who's nearly like 2 millennia old. uh, yeah. Apparently, there's issues in Stuttgart. Some of them might touch on Rafe's early life. We don't entirely know. But he was apparently active in and around that time, or at least alive in and around that time, and that's a little suspicious. And given the sheer amount of weird masquerading as normal-ish in the world, you guys can't really afford to ignore people going missing around the Black Forest, which is the site of basically every evil witch and creepy forest bit of bullshit coming out of Europe, which is so very much of it. So, yeah. Given that it's, you guys, and you kind of stand out, particularly when you are in a group, you do have a couple of options. If you want to travel together, there's cargo transport of, not necessarily legal means, but, you get to where you get with who you get there from. Or separate flights to various spots around Germany.
Kitty's fine going together.
I kind of want a flight to be a flight, not rattling around in a hold for questionable numbers of hours.
I'm gonna go with the boss. I don't want to get lost again.
No, you see, I'd be going with you.
Okay.
We learned from the incident in Bordeaux.
Sorry.
That's fine. We compensate for these things. I mean, given the current amounts of information, there's not a whole lot to be planning, but basically, I have tickets for a more spread out but comfortable way of flying, because otherwise it's some smugglers, they're being well paid, which I guess buys a certain amount of keeping your mouth shut, but so honestly, it's up to you. There's a certain amount of comfort and not potentially being raided in separate flights.
As long as I don't get lost, I'm fine with whatever the group wants.
Separate flights is best flight.
Very well.
Yeah, I know that you're very good at getting to where you need to be by whatever means are available, Mr. Odinson, but sometimes comfort isn't bad.
Recall my old boat.
Which one? Haven't you had like 18?
The one that didn't catch fire.
No, 2 didn't catch fire. Technically, that one didn't burn, it just blew up.
Yeah.
There was nothing flammable. It was all about pressure, and I still don't know how that happened.
And if I remember right, I think I owe you an apology for at least one of those. Still.
Yes, if I recall correctly, though, it did get you to quit smoking.
Gunpowder and fireworks. Oh, so fickle friends.
She just hands Ketty a ticket, which is first class flight into Berlin.
Thank you.
Swank.
You don't know. She gave it to him, unless you're peering over his shoulder.
Sorry.
Suyin is going to Munich. And Kim and Rafe are going to Frankfurt. We also have train bits and pieces.
Yeah, 'cause there are only so many ways out into that forest.
Yes, well, it's not so much the forest itself, it's just getting to Stuttgart. There's no direct flights from Morocco to Stuttgart, and it's easier to go through major transport hubs anyway, and I don't want us to ruin all the work by getting flights into the Stuttgart airport, so to avoid train station issues, points at Rafe, you and I will be flying into Stuttgart airport, and you two will be taking trains. If nothing else, it's good to have certain amounts of testing of your IDs, if nothing else.
Jawohl.
Yeah, okay. She does not look remotely sorry when she hands Yin economy class flight ticket. Splits the difference with her and Wraith. They're going business class. I couldn't justify anything less, not with you.
I just look delighted at any sort of flight that's not in a cargo plane.
That's fair. Is anything anyone wants to do last minute in Morocco? You'll be, because of the amount of time it will take being on trains, you will be meeting in Stuttgart at a building that she gives you an address for but does not tell you what it is. And you will meet there in 2 days' time. Rafe and Kim will be arriving first, and you're going to have to help me set some various things up. Just to make sure that everything is livable even for people who aren't used to rather varied standards of living.
Can do.
And on that note, flights to Germany.
Kitty reads the book that he was given.
Yeah, it's he has a good flight. I mean, it's first class. It's the complimentary glass of champagne and the decent food and the rest of it. Well, for airline food anyway. Suyin is crammed in the middle seat, kind of because airline seating arrangements are usually crap. You're kind of crammed between, like, there's apparently a family of 6, and the 4 children are flanking you.
I'm going to regale them with tales of Yar Har Fiddle Dee Dee.
Mm.
Egged up, of course.
You do have. Oh dear. This is gonna be.
Yeah, vagued up and acting like I'm like some kind of a history teacher on madness juice.
Yeah, it's the madness juice part that has the mother leaning back around because she's obviously listening for her kids, in the seats in front, and going, "Excuse me, what are you telling my children?" This in German.
Providing history lessons.
About piracy?
Yes, I happened to study that before I got the teaching degree.
Hans is 5. Why are you telling him about the Opium Wars?
I guess I got a little too technical. I'm sorry, ma'am.
Give me a persuasion check.
$19.
All right. Just remember, I have to go home with my children, and the 7-year-old sitting on your right is brandishing fake sword and shouting things that are a little bit too fast for you to really pick up. And I don't really want them enacting some of what you just said. I have to go home and parent enthusiastic children of that age are probably going to bottle up the house and threaten to pillage things for rights to the cookie jar. Please stop.
Understood.
And kids from either side. Aww! Yeah, you do kind of have the Hans just sort of going, but it's educational!
Mm.
I can keep the story's aim if you'd like, ma'am.
I think it's a little bit late for that. Are there any consequences for your Opium War pirates?
Extensive ones, actually.
Could you please just teach them that there are consequences to being a violent, large German compound word that is almost untranslatable, but it basically comes along it's a euphemistic way of saying asshole made from a compound word of much nicer ways.
Yeah, so I'll veer around from that and go through the inevitable end of what happened to those pirates. Keeping it still PG, thankfully.
PG, but these kids are all in single digits in age.
Yeah, basically as close to carefully so as not to give them ideas.
given some of the consequences that happened to some of those pirate groups, there's a 4-year-old on the aisle starts crying.
God damn it. I was trying to not cause them to start to flip out over it, but
That was a 4. So
well.
and the mother sort of bundles this kid up into her
Yeah,
lap.
I look at her and ask it when she comes over. I'm looking at her like, help, because I was trying to keep it sensible.
Do you know anything that isn't violent?
This is just racking my brain to the very
Just
Venetian merchants mostly.
Just find a book and stop talking to my children. And she keeps this poor kid in her lap for the rest of the flight.
Then I'm just going to go through and out of the miscellaneous things I got in the pre-flight books at the gate, getting books, just something on how to build boats and trying to compare techniques listed in that to the stuff I knew about.
And Hans is now just sort of going, engineering's not violent. Can you teach me how to build one of those?
Not in the time of a flight, but I can certainly point you at books to read.
He's just peering around at your book, and you can hear the father sitting in front as well, just going. And you hear a mutter of German of my wood shop is never going to be the same.
I am a delightful but terrible influence.
Well, yes. And by the time your flight is over, you have 3 children just sort of have been peering over the diagrams in your books, just sort of going, Papa, I'm going to build a boat! And just...
What? This is just this internal monologue of, oh, this is going to be an interesting thing to read about the papers in a week.
And the 4-year-old is so peering over her mother's shoulder and just meeping at you.
I try to look apologetic.
Yeah, whatever it is, she says there's something about you that just freaks her out. So it really is.
Sad. Pirate is sad.
Well, you got the other 3. Just you terrified 4-year-old.
I don't like doing that.
Yeah. Meantime, Rafe and Kim had a pretty average flight. Given that this is the early 2000s, she actually has one of those portable DVD player things, and she's queued up something for you to watch if you get bored with your pull list. So it's just
Yeah, which usually it's just he's alternating between comics and just sort of looking out the window because it's still that's a spectacle in of itself. I mean, he's flown a fair bit, but hey, it's still neat.
I suppose it does make sense that Kim gets the aisle seat because she can just kind of tuck in her legs if Rafe has to. Whereas trying to squeeze past Rafe is kind of an impossibility.
Yeah. They probably found that out when he probably had the aisle seat first, sat down and was like,
no,
oh.
Kim
Kim would have thought of that. You're right. My bad.
Yeah. But that's, to be fair, the main reason that she thought about that because she's intelligent, but Rafe knew that anyway because some of the times he's flown alone, the few times he's actually been able to get a flight back when you could still buy them in cash and it wasn't, because of course this is only a few years after, so you guys have now been subjected to the additional security measures. And some people in some countries being a hell of a lot more sensible about it than the fucking TSA.
Suyin does not like the TSA.
Yeah, one thing that Kim does say to Rafe is that, yes, that flight that you took out of New York, if I have anything to say about it, that's going to be the last. We're not dealing with the amount that the TSA keeps track of people. Besides, removing your shoes in an airport. Just, I mean, those carpets. Imagine what must get into your socks. Yeah, pretty much. Thankfully, bleach deals with a multitude of sins. But yeah, they get there. They make the flight change, and it must be amazing for Rafe how easy Kim makes it look. She doesn't even really consult because she's got it all tucked in the brain. It's just right. We need to go this way.
He just follows. He's like the world's most obedient child. Just okay. This one knows where she's going. I'm gonna follow her because she's the smart one. So there we go.
Basically, you're a human Newfoundland.
Big.
Essentially, at this point,
You're big, you're sweet, you're loyal, and you're kind of dumb.
I basically treat her exactly like I treat Teddy. Boss.
Yeah, but she does stop at one of the one of the shops on the concourse and offers Rafe a small bar of chocolate. It's not Swiss, but it's still better than what you were having. Give it a try.
He nods appreciatively and gives it a try and is very pleased by the result.
So what he's got is dark chocolate covered coating nougat. So it's
Nice.
it's this chewy kind of not quite marshmallow thing. Probably not something he's had except for the fake versions in the middle of Snickers.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like the
Exactly.
stuff in a Snickers bar but better,
Ah,
like real and proper chocolate around it. So it's like, how have I been eating Snickers bars all these years? What is wrong with me? No,
yeah.
this.
So on the one hand, it's like, wow, this is really good. On the other hand, oh man, now I can't eat those anymore. Bugger. Oh well. I'll wait I'll wait another 50 years and I'll forget.
Well, that or it's actually from a chain store, so she
Oh.
actually points out the shop. It's a fairly upmarket chain store, but
Nice.
if this comes off well, I'll if you want to try the really really good stuff, I will take you to Switzerland. I know a place. Actually, rummage. Pulls out. This is a small box, so it's just still got a couple of bits in. Opens. Chocolate covered cherries.
Ooh. Okay. I've had something like this before, but I'm assuming these are very high quality.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He just kind of his eyes just kind of light up a little bit because he's like very high quality compared to what I've because he's had the off the rack at the five and dime like
this is the kind of thing that the maraschino cherry is floating in a really high grade cherry liqueur as well as the sort of cherry fondant stuff to keep it from oozing too much and very high quality Swiss chocolate.
Yeah, that's why he's like, this is familiar-ish, but wow. So yeah, he's blushing a little bit too because he's just like, oh geez, wow.
When you do this kind of job, every so often you just need the best. I have my vices, same as anyone else. and on the flight to Stuttgart Airport. You guys have trains. You are largely left to your own devices as regards trains, because you guys can be trusted to travel. And given that by this point you probably got an overnight once you actually get to your various spots in Germany. Is there anything you guys want to do in Munich and Frankfurt, respectively?
If I have enough time to go
doesn't really matter at this point.
find me a I guess camping outfitter sort of place.
You do realize Kim is going to deal with that, don't you? You're a smart cookie.
Yeah, I figured it was either I was gonna scoop up a few bits and pieces, or Kim was, and if it's
she did say that she needed Rafe's help to set some stuff up.
Yeah, so that sounded like about it. So yeah, I'm gonna browse, but I'm just gonna not bother with anything.
Yeah, I mean, there's the usual, stuff what you can generally find in Germany. I mean, you in particular haven't been to Germany in a while.
Yeah, so I'm just kind of enjoying the browse time.
Yeah.
Ketty just keeps an eye out for any ominous omens.
I mean, you were lost in this particular city like 8 months ago because you were doing the European backpacking thing. So Germany is the various German cities were a pretty major stop. Okay, make me a perception check. Let's start with that.
Wow. First one of the night.
No, you're very much your father's son, and you are far more interested in, because you being you probably just took another bed in another backpackers hostel, and there's a couple of rather attractive buxom individuals who are very much interested in having a beer and a bit of a flirt with you over the course of the evening, and that's pretty much your lot. Apparently, if Odin has anything to throw at you omens wise, he took one look at the surroundings you are in and just went, "Yeah, he's gone for the night. Whatever."
Yep, his father is definitely the last thing. He's okay with that.
That's a hell of a way to put it. Love you, Nubs. That's brilliant.
Of course, now I really do have to wonder how many little Wraiths and Kettys are running around out there somewhere.
I think he's more cautious about that than Ulrich was when you asked that a while ago.
But then again, there's the fact that, contraceptives have improved now, but we're talking about the 400s AD. So, and Rafe is Rafe, and probably had to have the concept of, we don't know if you're immune to certain immune disorders. Do we know what HIV would do to you? Oh God, of course that's Rafe turning up. Yeah, probably checking out Midtown at when the epidemic was getting there, and given him being one of the most tolerant individuals, probably had a whole lot of friends who he comes back and is like, wait, they died of what? We probably actually had to find Ketty at that point, shake him for a while, and go, "What is AIDS? I thought AIDS was helping people!" Because that is just such a Rafe thing.
Yep.
It's the simplest jump, isn't it?
Yep.
And then him probably going, "What a stupid name for a disease that kills people!"
eventually got the basic concept of acronyms, but it's still kind of they yeah.
It's not even that. It's just, I get that stands for things, but why did they have to call it something that stands for something like that? I mean,
Mm,
I'm stupid, but that's just wrong.
I'm
I am
stupid, but that's dumb.
Yeah, it's like I am a simple man. That is what's the word? And Ketty, irony. The bad kind. So, meanwhile, Suyin is browsing, crashing at whatever spot she's crashing in, and probably having another argument in bars over probably the Asian theater of World War II, because it's Germany and she's had a few beers and
Oh yeah.
Oh dear God.
When I hit the bars hard.
thankfully the hangover is not all that much to deal with. Anyway, point being that Ketty's train is a little bit later, so Suyin arrives just after breakfast to find that Kim is basically well, first of all, Kim has basically turned Rafe into fetcher and pack mule. Basically, she sent him out with a map, very carefully labeled, because she knows he can read those. Some various bits of documentation, and said you need to pick up that, and that, and come back here. By that point, he's already brought in the bits of furniture in what is actually apparently somebody's old manor house. The kind of thing that would generally be touristy to the extreme, except they aren't exactly very fond of in the US someplace like that would be a tourist attraction, like Monticello or whatever, but in this case it was the home of some prominent Nazi figure, and now they're basically going, we can't quite tear it down, but we don't really know how to repurpose it, and if we're gonna just rip it down and build on the ground, we probably need to make a big deal of it, but we have to decide the right kind of big deal to make with it, and it's all a big political mess. So right at the moment, it's technically an historical landmark for now, but nobody wants to go anywhere near it, so it's largely locked up, and Kim has managed to find a way inside. So you have this massive manor. But yeah, when Suyin comes in going, must have breakfast, Kim will have breakfast, she all but walks in to Rafe, who's up to there with boxes. So just whoomp.
Yep, carrying them with no difficulty though. Just
Yeah, but the only
yeah.
reason she knows it's him is because you don't know very many people that big.
Yeah. Walking wall of books.
And you hear, well, first you feel boof, and then you hear,
Sup?
Oh, hey! You made it! Awesome. Steps to the side. Took a moment to judge. Okay, she's about that wide. Okay, step.
well, the thing is, if she just follows you, because you've got everything now, so you're going back. She was going to take a shortcut, or what was going to end up being a long cut, because she doesn't have a map. Not of the town, anyway.
I'm heading back, so... And I have a map, so I know the way. I actually know something.
I'll follow you then.
And yeah, you wind up being led through the sort of back way into what you see from the front. Actually, make me a perception check, Suyin, because Kim explained the origins of the building to Rafe when they got in last night. Just to... They've clearly removed some insignia from the from various spots, but they've done it completely enough that you can't tell what this place used to be. But it's big and fancy, and why is no one living in it?
When I find when Kim is located, I'm just going to sketch an elaborate bow and greetings to you, lady of the house.
Please don't call this my house. It used to belong to Nazis.
Ah, I was wondering what that half of an insignia was.
I personally like the idea that people that the Nazis would very much not approve of, and in fact fought them on several occasions, will be at least temporarily living in the spot that that they used to occupy, at least until someone decides how they're going to tear the place down.
Be a cause for celebration, that's gonna be.
We did manage to get a stove working, so and she hands Suyin basically bowl of Korean style breakfast.
Praise the heavens that you exist, because otherwise I'd have gone mad from hunger.
I'm good at that. It's that particular recipe's been passed down in my family for at least as long as Mr. Odinson's been alive. If you put those down, I've got a bowl for you as well.
Okay. Where would you like me to set?
For now, just set it in the front entry hall. We'll sort out everything and who needs to have what later.
Okay. And just trucks it over and plunks it down. I mean, not, but carefully.
Big bowl for you.
Thank you. I thought you were already mad. And just sort of head tilt. Just
But you
not said in any insulting way. Just
yeah.
just sincerely confused, head tilt. Just I thought you were already mad.
I do like the fact that you differentiated between mad and angry.
Yes.
I'm gonna quietly keep eating.
How
Just-
as far as that goes, how was your flight?
Well, I pose as a history teacher.
Oh no.
At the oh no, Rafe is just like, oh.
Because
Because if it's bad enough to make her go, oh no, he's like,
I'm
oh.
just glad that there are still kids out there who are curious about the past.
Oh no.
And also boating techniques and boat repair.
That's a little better probably, but
They got focused on that by the end, so I think I derailed them from any of the historical stuff pretty firmly with that one.
remember, every time she goes on about history, it tends to be about her unique perspective on maritime trade.
Yeah, because I mean, it was a business. What else was I supposed to say? It's all about branding.
Did you mention how many cities you set on fire?
No, not
Not precise numbers?
precise numbers, just that pirates sacked places.
I know how this works with you. Pirates sacked places. What does sacking mean? How can you put a city in a bag? Because I've seen the transcripts of when you had this conversation with your friend here.
Yeah, but I think he's a little. He's got a bit of a tougher shell to crack up in the mental spaces.
Yes, but well, maybe, but Mr. Ellison at least has some concept of violence ensued, he has perspective on what violence means, so he doesn't ask for details the same way a child would. And you tend to be very proud of the property damage that you have created. Usually ending with, but it made good tea, look!
Oh, right. The Civ show. I did not tell them that story. I got a little technical about the Opium Wars, but then I got told to stop, and I veered off of that very, very quickly.
Yeah, Ketty's managed to find his way in around about the point where Suyin is copping to having told children about the Opium Wars.
What was that about the Opium Wars?
Something I thankfully derailed with boat.
I see.
And talk of how to make boats. In fact, hang on. I'm going to go through my stuff and pull out the book and just sort of hand it to him. Just sort of walk
I have
over and hand it to him.
Some experience with boats myself, Suyin.
I know! I was making comparisons with this! Now it's your turn to make comparisons.
Or you could have breakfast. Just hands him bowl.
Thank you, Miss Kim.
My only real excitement about the whole thing was introducing Mr. Ellison to Swiss chocolate.
It's good. It's real good.
With chocolate, wonderful clocks.
Although I'm not going to be able to eat Snickers for a while. It's
That
not the same.
that was German chocolate.
Right.
The Swiss was
The
the
cherry.
cherry.
That's right. It was the cherry. Yes. Yeah, the cherry was incredible. And the German chocolate has ruined me for Snickers for at least a while. But apparently it's easier to find than I thought it was. So, yay!
It's national. It's not international. Although I think there are a couple of specialty places that do them, depending on
Imports.
depending on what country you're in, and you find that kind of thing in the strangest places. There's this little town in New Jersey that has a British specialty store.
Huh.
I don't think I've been to Jersey since 18 something.
I don't think you're missing much.
Yeah.
It smells worse now. Bits of it do anyway.
No, I tell a lie. There was that one time I dipped in on a train once, but that was unintentional. I got lost.
How do you get lost on a train?
Changing. Somehow I ended up on the train to Jersey at one point where it was weird.
You could actually see her running through the various train routes in that part of the world in her head, trying to figure out exactly which one he took.
Penn Station, jumped on the PATH train by accident,
Yeah.
and ended up in Jersey. It's entirely possible.
Oh, believe me, I know.
I've never done it myself in real life, but yeah.
Oh dear. Right. Yes. Itinerary and plans and such like. Now that everyone's had some various bits of food, and once you've had tea or coffee to wash the taste of Korean breakfast out, I will share one of my. It pulls out the little box of chocolate-covered cherries because they haven't tried them yet. Actually, I wouldn't have put it past Mr. Odinson to have had these ones because I think he's had everything once.
At least once.
Yeah, you've got Kim just.
But if it was only once, how do you know if you liked it. Anyway,
At least once. Which means if he really liked it, more than once. He's had centuries. Do what he likes. You can have one anyway. And yes, he has actually had these. They've improved the recipe a little since you had them, because you had them like several decades ago. Yoink.
Luke's impressed.
Mm. And for Suyin, I mean, chocolate is not usually her bailiwick, but for her, it's probably the cherry liqueur that does it.
Yep. Fantastic clocks. Chocolate.
Right. I don't think you'll want to be going into the forest without getting some information from the townsfolk. I mean, Stuttgart's not small, but at the very least, you might be able to get something. Looking at Suyin, I hesitate to say it, but from the bars.
Perfect.
There are some people with missing family and friends who are drowning their sorrows, and they might be worth talking to. Also, a lot of them not being believed about the what little they may or may not have seen. I'm having some issues getting any kind of report on it because nobody wants to make one because everyone assumes they're drunk, crazed with grief, on something or all of the above.
If any of them stumbled into the local criminal bars. What? Every city has a couple of bars that the local thieves
I
frequent.
didn't say they didn't. I'm just saying that. Remember, I'm assigned to you right now. This is my first assignment. I have some connections, but I haven't actually come face to face with them yet.
Yeah, I'm mostly just speculating on the potential of double dipping for intel purposes.
Well, we don't have to rush into things. I have made some arrangements for if you're heading into the forest long term, because the Black Forest is not exactly small, which is part of why getting some information beforehand, because you might be able to pinpoint a location from a variety of sources. So, I suppose for the next day or two, however you can get information, do. I'll be doing the same in my own fashion.
Sounds like an
And
excellent plan.
at the end of it, we pool our various resources and see if we can't at least narrow it down to a spot, which I'm kind of hoping is closer to the edge of the forest, because if it's further deeper in order to be able to actually keep track, I might actually have to set up a base camp in there, which, given, I'm not entirely looking forward to, but if it has to happen, it has to happen.
Well,
I
what I'm
expect we
doing
will
tonight
need
then.
to head farther in due time,
Yes, but there still has to be a base camp,
of course.
because if I'm going to be of use, then I have to be at least within screaming distance, or walkie-talkie distance, or whatever means you have of communication that is beyond my immediate understanding distance.
Ideally, we're keeping you well away from any of the more unique denizens of the forest.
We would hope, but base camp is still. Anyway, it's all part of the job. It's fine. It's still better than what happened to the last person who was dealing with you. You may have noticed he wasn't particularly hands-on. He got kicked in. He got kicked into records. Almost literally. My superiors basically punted him down the stairs into archives. I think he lives there now.
Oh dear.
There's. Okay, it's not quite an apartment. It's a bedroom and a half bath. It has a shower. They don't want him stinking up the books, but
Holy hell, he actually does live down there now.
they do bring food. It's not.
I
It's airline food, effectively.
I should
it's
send him a
institutional food.
book.
You're a horrible person. I mean, I know you didn't like that one particular job in the 80s, but is that really any reason to torture the poor man?
That's fair.
I mean, I admit you should probably send him something nice just for the novelty of him being the reason that you didn't set fire on to something just this once. Or are you just jealous because you didn't get to set it on fire?
A little bit of both, but I'll be a better person in this case and send him something interesting.
How is that being a better person? I know you.
Yeah, not for nothing. Even I'm smart
Interesting in
enough
the
to
way
know.
you described.
Okay. I was about to say, even I'm smart enough to know your version of interesting is.
Involves high explosives? Yes.
Well,
I know.
I was actually more thinking about the supposed, although there's reasons to think that they're misattributing the quote unquote Chinese curse of may you gain the notice of those in high places, may you live in interesting times, and may your every wish come true. Interesting for you could mean so many things.
Yeah.
Let's focus on the task at hand, Suyin.
I find it's easier to actually get her in particular a little bit off focus, because if she gets the off focus out of her system now, she focuses better later.
True.
So says about 200 years of paperwork.
I kind of want to see some of that.
No. It's my paperwork and you can't have it. I don't care if it's about you. You know what you did.
Oh, yes.
Meaningful look from Ray. Just, that's what she did.
Very sort of self-satisfied expression, possibly having involved a few dozen fire bombs.
You know, for that expression, you are bringing me back lunch.
As you will.
I may live to regret that, or maybe I won't, because I'm not like you guys. I probably actually die, but I'm sure she won't kill the hand that feeds. And pulls out her laptop.
Nothing will happen to you.
I was more thinking about damage to my taste buds for whatever she manages to bring back.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, I'm gonna flounce on out to go check out the bar scene.
At 11:30 in the
To
morning.
check out where the bars are, rather.
Yeah,
So that I know which ones to pinball to and which ones to pinball between.
Not now, but later. May. Well, I'm used to losing people. I know what that's like. Maybe I can use that to get some people talking. I've been here before, ish. I mean, not here, but
It's okay.
anyway.
It's okay. I was actually also thinking that you are large and earnest and sweet, and you do fine in bars, but of the three of you, you would be the ones that would be better at dealing with people in the daytime. You could check and see if there's anyone at the local cafes. At the very least, now that you have your map, get yourself a little more familiarized with the city, because once you don't memorize the maps, but you get an instinct. I've found from, again, so much paperwork. You get used to it, and finding the cafes and doing what Ms. Zong is doing, and just seeing where everything is will actually be probably get you to be able to find your way back here without a map next time. It's
I can
not
do that.
it's not your fault people change where everything is. Reach way up, pat, pat, pat.
Leans down just a little.
Oh no, just well, yeah, because even with the shoulder, it'd have to be because she's kind of
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, that's just reflex.
Pat,
Anytime
pat,
somebody,
pat.
anytime he sees somebody doing the, it's just instinct at this point to
Yeah,
kind of.
this is just on the shoulder. Thank you. That would have been quite the reach.
Keddy's gonna go to the local bars because he has vested interest in who would actually be there at 11:30 in the morning, and also he can pretend to be looking for places to play for the night.
That is in fact entirely fair. Okay, we are getting on to the break time ish, so we will take a quick break, and when we come back, we will determine what, if anything, you guys have found out. And we're back. Setting this lot loose in going their separate ways in fucking Stuttgart. I did not think this through. Anyway, we'll start with Suyin because she's probably easiest because she's not actually going in because I don't think the crim bars are necessarily open at this point because they have to clean up sometime.
Yep.
Make me a perception check. Because the kind of bars you're looking for only really want to be found by people who know they're there.
4.
Stuttgart is apparently entirely devoid of criminal bars.
Huh. Oh well. Guess I'm just gonna wander around and see what bars are frequented. Just gonna look around, find the bars, and learn which ones are popular for the area.
I rolled the hand of fate and I rolled a 3. Stuttgart is apparently, as far as Suyin is concerned, devoid of bars.
Gets to a point where I'm just wandering around, going, "This is fucking Germany."
That's a 1, so while you're yelling about this is fucking Germany, probably in German, you wind up with a tug, tug, tug at the bottom of your shirt. And there is an entirely different 6-year-old girl. You said a swear.
Oh, dear. That I did, and I promise I won't say any more. Okay.
Why are you saying swears?
Trying to find. Cogitating, trying to think of any way to say bar without explicitly saying bar. Just trying to look at a place to get food and drink that isn't a restaurant. More so the drink than anything else.
Is this one where you also want sex?
No. Yeah, the kid says this, I'm like, no.
Oh. Looks obscurely disappointed.
Huh. Since you know people who go to places like that around here?
You're in the wrong district for that. This is where the schools are. I don't think they'd like the places with the beer and the women and the men and the whatever you are interested in, and the things with the smoking and the needles and the. Why do people breathe powder up their nose?
Largely because they have a severe case of the dumb. And when they're that dumb to think that what they're doing is a good idea, they do dumb things.
And then they do even more dumb things after.
Oh yeah.
Of course, some of them don't need that. There was a man and he didn't do anything except for maybe like one beer, and then he put his foot through our jukebox.
His foot through the jukebox.
Flying kick. It was great.
What made him hate the jukebox so much?
I don't know. He didn't speak very much German, and mostly it was swears.
Huh. Where was this place that he trashed the jukebox?
Mama's bar.
Can you Ooh. And where would that be?
Not here.
Yeah, as you said, very wisely, I might add. This is where the schools are.
I have to walk a long way.
Well, would you like me to follow along? Keep you safe?
I may get in trouble. I'm not supposed to talk to strangers, but you were saying swears.
Yeah, that is fair.
But I talk to you now.
Mm-hmm. Well, I leave that up to you.
Well,
Would you like me to follow, or would you prefer to go
Miss
your own way?
Miss Ma'am, you're probably gonna follow me anyway because how am I going to stop you? I'm small. And you're armed.
Huh. It's just just getting real raised eyebrow here. Kid knows shit.
The kid knows an awful lot about her mama's bar, so you know.
You know what? Lead on.
Pat, 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 pat. Which is how Ketty finds Suyin following in the wake of a 6-year-old girl.
Ketting pauses, like on the other side of the street, and
And the kid sees him looking and just.
yeah.
And she stops and looks at Suyin and says, is he also looking for drinks and food, but no sex? To be fair, this is a 6-year-old trying to speak to someone taller. You probably heard that. This
I'm
is
just
probably
gonna turn
when
and look at
Ketty
him.
crosses the street. I like your beard.
Why, thank you, young miss.
You also have weapons. Not as many as she has.
I
Well,
just look a little bit guilty.
You should know, young miss, that the strongest weapon anyone can have is their mind. So you are never truly unarmed.
So you're better armed than she is. Up here.
Yes.
But
Yes.
she's better armed than you with a... What happens if she takes the weapon that's not the brain and makes your brain not be in your head anymore?
She would never do that.
No, but
No,
somebody
I
who
would
has
not.
her... No, but somebody who has weapons like hers might.
Perhaps, but... Well, your two hands can be a weapon too, and I can defend myself. Rest assured.
Are you a superhero?
No, but
But
nearly.
you're implying that you can catch a bullet.
That was not quite what I was implying.
Well, you
but
said that your hands are a weapon, and if somebody is up over there someplace and they have a gun and anyway, are you looking for drink places?
yes, yes, I am.
She wants to see Mama's bar.
Oh, your brother has a bar.
People go there because they want to indulge their bad case of the dumbs.
That is a good way of
that I'm
describing.
grinning about.
She had said that because I didn't understand why people breathe powder up their noses.
Oh, it's that kind of bar.
It's a lot of kind of bar.
That is very good to know.
Somebody with only one beer in them put their foot through Mama's jukebox.
That's a shame,
I
but
mean, that alone makes it worth it. Checking this place out.
if your
We
mother is looking for music for the night, perhaps I could be of help.
Apart for that reason.
I don't think that the man with the accent from somewhere in the Britain place is still here, so he won't put his foot through you. That's good.
Yes, yes, it is.
I don't know if I'm gonna get in more or less trouble for talking to strangers if one of them might be instrumental man for the night. Oh well. Pat 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 pat.
Looks at Suyin.
Just gonna shrug and follow along.
She over her shoulder. She was saying swears in front of my school. Loud.
Yeah. I got a little aggravated. What?
She got a little lost. She seemed to think she'd find bars in school district.
Oh
Still
dear.
padding along.
I don't have an intuitive sense for land navigation. Put me out on the water, and I cannot get lost. Here, blocks look the same.
But there
Kitty
was a school.
follows.
That's how I wound up near the schools.
You're very weird, Miss Superhero. Pat, 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 pat.
Yeah, I get that a lot, and I love every second of it.
She actually stops, turns around. You didn't deny it. Turns back. Pat,
Oh,
pat, 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 pat,
No,
pat,
I
pat.
didn't. I like being weird.
I meant the superhero bit.
Ah, but I heard the weird bit.
But you didn't deny any of it. Not like
This
Mr.
very
Super Beard did.
this very amused grin. Suyin just wants. I want to keep feeding this just because this is funny.
Eventually you wind up in a fairly insalubrious, what little insalubrious area of Stuttgart it has, which isn't much, but there was always a district. This has been like a couple of miles of walking, so long walk for the kids. But and you wind up in front of, you've all seen the dive bar. They look a little different in Europe. They don't tend to be out in the middle of parking lots and generally just look like concrete bricks. In this case, it's somebody took a chunk of tenement house, replaced one of the windows, and turned this narrow-ass little ground floor spot into bar.
Oh, I missed these.
It doesn't even actually seem to have that much in the way of a name. It just kind of has gaudiest neon sign of a beer stein, which apparently gets switched on in the evenings, but for now it's a bit dark. There's you when she opens up the door, it's standing on tiptoes, a little key, she opens the door, and you get two doors. One that's right in front of you, which looks incredibly fucking sturdy and probably has like 3 locks on it. And then there's one that's a bit more normal and mostly glass to your immediate right. And when you look in there, there is the dive bar. Basically, they've knocked down most of the walls on the ground floor bit of space and tried with moderate success to turn the ground floor of this dinky little house into a bar. There is a somewhat less grotty patch of floor out by an outlet over in one corner where apparently the jukebox used to be. There is a small, not overly well-stocked looking bar, and there is a mid-height, rather scrawny, high cheekboned woman with not horrible home perm, but she clearly hasn't made the effort yet because it's not around that time. And the little girl just sort of pads in and just goes, "Mama, I brought you a living jukebox." Turns around and looks. Superheroes.
I'm just gonna gesture to my bearded friend.
Guten Tag. I figured he brought his guitar.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, if you were saying you were looking for work, so I assumed, yes. The lady was in front of my school saying swears, and then she followed me home. She wanted a bar, so I brought customers. Ingrid, you're not gonna make me go do my homework now, are you? You can do your homework down here if you're quiet and you let me talk to the people. Please don't yell at them. I'm the one you're supposed to be yelling at. I'm the daughter. Just nudges her towards the table. You'll have to excuse my daughter. She's a little, gregarious in strange ways. probably my fault given the upbringing. How can I
Well,
help
so
you?
is Suyin.
Uh,
You're the one looking for work. I'm just the one who got lost trying to find a bar and got far luckier than I was ready for.
Anyways, Hetty, it's a pleasure to meet you.
just, I hate to have to say it, but basically everyone calls me madam. The only non-German word in that entire. I don't. But how much did you tell them? No sex. Not from her anyway. I don't know about him. Nobody'd commit to that. Then again, he's getting looks. Not the needles or the powder either. I brought it up.
I'm just watching this exchange. It's too good that I'm just watching this exchange because I think it's too good to pass up.
How about you? Can I make you some coffee and then we can discuss entertainment and you maybe don't call Child Protective Services?
That sounds perfect.
Uh, brings out some coffee. It sits you down, and I hesitate to ask, what's your experience? I mean, clearly, it's a very well maintained instrument.
Well, I've been doing the gap year tour for a few years now.
That's a very
It's
long gap year.
Well, the university will be there when I get back, I'm sure.
Which one?
Oxford.
Why would you want to go there?
It's prestigious. But,
Yes, that's the problem. I've heard of some of the people who come out of that school.
They
yes,
all
well,
have sticks up places that really shouldn't have sticks up them.
this is why I'm enjoying this extended gap year while I still can.
I'd recommend a good German school. Your German is certainly good enough for it.
Oh, keep that in mind.
What kinds of things do you play?
Folk songs, usually, from around the region.
Honestly, you best be demonstrating.
It doesn't. Excuse me. Do you want to? Do you want to conduct this interview?
I'm just going to bow apologetically and get out of the way.
I tell you what. You and Ingrid seem to have bonded. So long as you don't tell her any more swears, why don't you go sit and see if she needs any help with her homework? Although I don't suppose I should worry about the swears. She probably hears all of them and more in here anyway.
Understood.
It just and it does actually just nudge you the same way she did Ingrid. Just punk.
Yeah, I'm just getting the hell out of the way because this woman is impressive. Like, this is the kind of woman I wished I'd had as a rival.
Currently, you've got Ingrid going. I have math.
Numbers, these are delightful.
Teach me your strange ways. I think they're boring. I like stories.
Well, numbers can have quite a bit to do with stories, especially when you're counting treasure. And
It's all about the context.
oh god, That grin is just amazing.
Well, that's a tell me.
Yeah, I'm probably going to start in on.
Because I have apples and mittens.
Now what
Shows
if
the workbook.
Now what if you had instead gold coins?
Real ones or just ones that are spray painted?
Think of the real ones that you might have had to get by way of being a pirate. And you have to yourself an entire river network coming off the sea, full of towns. And you want to be absolutely sure they give you exactly what you want.
I can see that would make numbers interesting, but that's a lot more complicated than if he has 5 apples and he has 3 apples and I have 2 apples, and he's just showing one of those
Really dippy.
first grade word problem kind of.
Oh, yeah. These are
Actually, to be
the
fair,
boring kind.
when would you have seen this? This is more. This is how they teach you numbers.
Yeah, it's like this is like, wow, they teach mathematics in the most boring way possible around here.
But I still have to have the right answer on the paper.
Well, if we get the answers squared away, we can come up with stories that are different than these. Make it more interesting.
But couldn't I just lay siege to him and then I could have all his apples?
Yes, you could.
But that's not that's not. These are the
That-
answers that they're saying.
And yeah, it's boring, but it's. I'm hoping they at least make it more interesting later, because there's all kinds of complicated juggling of quantities, resources that can be had. It's just they picked the dumbest and the simplest ones, because they clearly have no idea how smart you are.
Smart enough not to put caterpillars down people's dresses.
There are better ways of contending with people who are being the dumbs at school.
Salt in their milk boxes.
Exactly.
I got in so much trouble.
Yeah, so did I the first few times. Then I learned how to stop getting caught.
You're kind of in and out. You're hearing this, and you just get mad at him, just going. I think my Ingrid may have grown up too fast.
And somewhere in the middle of this, can I be trying to
Oh yeah, I mean you
get her through the math problems?
Yeah, you can get her through the math, and then I mean there's really unfortunate base level geography.
Oh man, I'm gonna be going over. Oh, that place. Yeah, that's. That used to be 3 separate locations.
And you're just getting the captive audience. Just
That
tell me, tell me, tell me, tell me, tell me.
Yeah, I'm just gonna basically talk about the myriad of various merchant factions in
Yes.
Singapore and the madness that was the trade networks that the Tamil Kings spawned.
And all this actually originally came from, you know, yeah, okay, we're dealing with the fact that Germany isn't 2 separate countries anymore. You've got that down. This is boring, and you've got everything written down on the paper. Now let's talk about the cool stuff.
Pretty much.
While all that is going on, Ketty is probably given a quick demonstration of, I'm gonna attempt fake. Give me a performance check. And so I do apologize for asking you to do an audition. It's just given. Did Ingrid tell you what happened to our jukebox? Yes, she told you what happened to our jukebox. She always tells what. I'd prefer that not happen to your face.
Rest assured that Suyin and I are a better class of tourist, at the very least.
It's not so much the tourist, it's just if they don't like what they hear, or actually, I don't know what the. I was never entirely sure if he was English or Scottish. It's somewhere north, but lots of countries have a north. And they all tend to be a little bit off, loud, violent.
Does seem rather
Anyway,
over the top of him.
I hope
Unfortunate.
I hope you are well versed in the taking of requests before feet and fists and occasionally chairs, and once there was a bottle.
Of course.
It was fine when it was a jukebox, but and how long would you be thinking of performing? I mean, how many hours and how many days?
Days is difficult to predict. You know,
Well, we can try you for today and see what the
certainly for tonight.
patrons. Well, we can see what the patrons think of you and see if you'd like to extend. And she offers a fairly reasonable sum for the evening, on top of whatever you can collect in your guitar case for a place that's this. Yeah, with 6-year-old Ingrid hearing about old Singaporean geography and probably veering into some of the political shit that was going on at the time, and her
Talking
just
about
having
dynasties. Like, then they finally managed to fuse all of that disparate stuff together. Then the dynasty ended, and the whole place shattered like a Ming vase.
or a jukebox.
Yes. And this kept happening. Just they keep putting themselves back together and shattering, putting themselves back together and shattering, putting themselves back together. I'm just waiting for the next shatter at this point.
All systems trend towards chaos.
Yes.
There was a man with one of the funny cigarettes, and he talked about that for hours.
The people who wander in and just sit around yammering. Isn't it funny?
But you're one of them too, aren't you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I most definitely am. I do have, as I said earlier, quite a bit of weird in me.
I don't have room for that much weird yet. But I think percentage-wise, I contain greater percentage of weird than you.
You're already getting the hang of percentages.
Well, yeah, because those are interesting. It's not how many mittens do I have. I only need 2! two.
Mm-hmm. Well, you might need extra sets for potential future adventures. Always good to have backups.
Or I could make sure that everybody else who doesn't have mittens, I could sell them at a premium. Did you have Madam caught the last of that going? The way you were talking, you seemed to be indicating that your friend Suyin was actually coming with you. She's going to be in my bar when it's open.
Yes, but I am sure she will be on her best behavior.
Suyin is probably not listening at this point, but
Nope, I hear none of this.
well, we'll have to see about that. And let's see where we. Now, I know this is probably, and I don't really know where you're staying, but it'd probably be in the sorts of places where you might find this kind of individual. If we're having live entertainment and we don't want a living jukebox incident, you wouldn't have anyone who might work well as a bouncer?
Yes, I do have another friend or two in the area. I could give him a call and see if he has any plans this evening.
It'd be at a similar rate. Bonuses if he actually has to get, or she, I suppose, actually has to get physical. Not that kind of physical. I have rather specific individuals for that.
Someone would have to be quite inebriated to pick a fight with him.
This is a bar.
Inebriated to the level where they would kick in the jukebox. I assume that only happens so often.
Only because we didn't replace it.
That is true.
There's a reason that you don't actually see any of the glassware.
It is a very fair point.
And honestly, particularly when we didn't have the jukebox, it was largely people making their own entertainment.
Mm.
We do also do some small amounts of food, but nothing overly fancy. But Ingrid is actually oddly quite helpful with that. As I say, I think my Ingrid is growing up too fast, but not much I can do about it.
Simple will be perfect. No.
But
Traveling students.
meal comes included with the with the role, and I suppose we can also feed your friend here. Call it payment for her tutoring duties.
That is very generous.
It's easier to cook for many, anyhow. In any case, you'll start at 7. I still have some things to deal with, and of course we have to start that cooking I mentioned. How's the homework coming, Ingrid? I'm good at percentages! Yes, we already knew that, dear. Ingrid looks at Suya, and I think you gotta go.
Yeah. I'll have a few stories about. Well, where do you want to hear about?
Everywhere.
Then I guess next time we start with South America.
Isn't that where the white snorty powder comes from?
Yeah, that's definitely one source of it. However, I'm more interested in the absolute debacle that is, was, and continues to be Brazil.
Isn't that cutting down all the trees for cows?
Combination of that and one hell of a complicated situation involving kings in exile who then decided, you know what? forget retaining the crown back home. I'm gonna make a new one here. Yeah, and they actually made a new one. That's the reason Brazil happened.
Didn't somebody in San Francisco do that once? Except he wasn't a king in exile, he was just a guy. And he decided he
Yeah.
was king of America, and then he was king of America.
Yup.
I like that story. Rafe probably met him. Yes. Off with you. We will see you later this evening. Yes.
Thank you. Come on, Suyin.
You just get angry. Just
Darian is just see her, sort of see her around, kiddo.
Ketty will text Kim to note that he's found a bar where the man of interest was, and that there had been a incident with a jukebox, and the bartender had observed that he was from somewhere in the north of England or Scotland, and also that
is yeah,
he's arranged for a job for Rafe.
the
She's invited as well for
the text first comes back because remember these are still the old tweet length things, so that's a lot of different. When you get that's not your man. Your man was American. We know that one. It is not the man you're looking for.
gets him to pause a bit.
The text comes out. I will show you the videos of the Waffle House incident.
Duly noted, Miss Kim.
I'm gonna say that while you've been texting this stuff out, you're walking back towards the place because you're not that far off where you guys are staying. And when you come in, it's like no. We think he's either the one you're talking about with the jukebox. We think he's either like you or something else bizarre. But he came in from somewhere around Romania.
What?
Had a drink. Got into an argument with somebody over Bram Stoker of all things. Started yelling something about logging excavators and kicked the jukebox.
What? What the unholy fuck? I didn't want to get in that much trouble.
There are stranger things in this world than you.
Do you know his
I'm allowed
name?
to do that.
That would be one Christopher Weiss. Currently some kind of archivist in London somewhere. And
Sure, yes.
connected to the Knights Templar? Peripherally. Somehow. I don't understand. But his only crusade seems to be against jukeboxes, and she does pull up. There is actually a compilation video of that she did not put together of this dark-haired man getting agitated and kicking in jukeboxes.
Oh my... Wow. Who put this together?
Um,
Who had the time to follow this lunatic around?
Kim's coworkers, I imagine.
no,
If
actually,
not literally
no, that was his now wife.
Ah.
She apparently found this whole thing immensely amusing.
Someone buried that. That DNA is out there somewhere.
Ketty is also going to have a brief think about the context of the Knights Templars in this. setting they've sent somebody here.
Uh, okay, I won't give you the why they might send someone here, but no, the Knights Templar were a thing, but apparently there's this. Apparently they've morphed into something that has very much tried to remove itself from its original roots and is not, basically the KKK, and right now it's kind of like you would be if there was actually organization, but some of them would. The reason you've avoided them, you in particular, these two probably just haven't tripped over them, is because they would probably try to pull you apart to find out why you don't die. So it's better to let them go their way and you go yours, and all is good. They have resources you have only just over the last few decades been able to dream of, but
Like, does he know what their stated goal is?
basically to keep the world from descending into hell.
Okay.
To explain, and also to explain the expressions that have been crossing Smeagol's face, this is the Secret World Templars.
Oh, okay.
The jukebox incident gave it away. I have not been able to stop internally screaming this entire time.
Okay, quickly, perception check from Rave.
12.
You do find a few cafes. Okay, now this is gonna be weird, but give me a straight up charisma check.
20.
You do get a few individuals, mostly on the older end, who are clearly upset, and while they're not hugely into talking, you do know the right things to say to. Unfortunately, you did not think to bring a map of the Black Forest with you, so you can't actually. And you're at least smart enough to know you can't make notes while you're comforting some poor gentleman who is mourning various younger members of his family. So the information you're going to be able to give back is garbled at best. You do know that the people who have gone missing from in the city have been obviously the ones a little bit closer to the forest area. The search parties have been moving fairly far in, so wherever it is that this is happening, it sure as hell isn't on the outskirts. But most of them, says one particular individual who's grumbling about the cowards involved, looked at the mess that something made of his daughter, said, well, that's bears for you, and gave up. So there's a certain point at which local constabulary stopped investigating. And you're not smart, but you're wise. That just means that whatever's there is a little bit further in. So that's basically the information you've got. You really are going to have to set up a base camp in the forest somewhere.
So yeah, no, getting what I can, I will make my way back. Waiting for people. I'll giving what information I can to Kim, but yeah. So it's happening. It is happening further in, but it seems the police are just chalking it up to bears. But that's not bears, obviously. But
that's clearly not bears. No, and
yeah.
When you guys had come in, you'd had Rafe putting together the various bits of camping gear. So you come in doing the I did good things, be proud of me, around about the point midway through the watching of the Waffle House incident video.
Be right back. 30 seconds.
Yeah, so you're watching Suyin laughing and pointing at this guy on a YouTube video kicking various jukeboxes.
And then hearing the someone married it, you're like, oh my god, someone married that. That DNA is out there somewhere now.
Apparently, she's weirder than he is.
Wow. Hey Rafe, come check this out.
Well, I'm kind of
No, it's okay.
okay. I'll step over, take a look.
Crunch.
Why does he hate
Yo.
music so much?
Oh no, that's just how he deals with being angry. He did that to a jukebox in a bar here. Apparently, he'd come in from Romania, got into an argument about Bram Stoker, started yelling about logging excavators, and then kicked the jukebox.
Those are certainly words. I understood.
Sounds like something I'd do,
it's just
doesn't it?
strange.
Well, it's better than
No, I
kicking.
don't think.
It's better than kicking a person.
Well, depending on what the person was saying, but yes, okay, fair.
So sorry.
Some people have said some things that needed kicking,
Yes,
but
but
I'm not doing that anymore. Well, ish.
it's okay. The thing is that nobody had said anything that deserved kicking at that point, as far as any eyewitnesses have been able to inform me.
Yeah, no, Bram Stoker and logging excavators are not reasons to kick people.
I had assumed he was more, perhaps not malevolent, but more dangerous than he's sounding. But
No,
his organization is not exactly compassionate either. So it's a curious factor.
there's a few like that. We try to keep you and them in your own separate corners. I don't think you'd like how some of those organizations operate.
Yeah, that does sound like the big yikes, because if they're all stick up their butt authority types, whoo.
Don't even get me started about the Illuminati. No.
They're actually a
No.
thing.
No.
They're actually a thing.
Another time, Suyin.
Kim said no.
Yes,
I know.
you
That's why I'm not bothering
were
with it. I'm just thinking about it.
you were a little busy setting up survival kits, etc. So we didn't really get a chance to tell you. Mr. Odinson has found you a job for the night.
Oh, what am I doing? Looking like the world's happiest golden retriever that he actually has a task. Like,
Keep
hey, what am I doing?
anyone from kicking the replacement jukebox at that bar, which would be me.
You
Oh,
solve
right.
problems made of jackasses by way of fist punch, punch fist, and out the bar they go.
To put it in the simplest possible terms, bouncer.
I got it. It just took me a minute because I took that a little too literally at first.
How exactly did you find this place?
I got either very
Suyin was
lucky.
swearing in front of a school and caught the attention of a local child.
I'm a kid magnet. What can I say?
Even for wow. Wow.
So you were swearing in front of a school, you caught a child's attention, and from there you ended up in a dive bar?
So.
Yep.
I got a little lost. I got a little angry about not being able to find any bars in Germany, of all places. And, got a bit loud about it. And this kid comes up and first asks if I'm swearing, then why I'm swearing, and then says that her mom owns a bar and started leading me to the place.
It's a very observant child.
So then
They
you needed a
expect
map
to
too,
spend
then.
so much more
Okay.
time at a bar.
Sorry, what was that, Mr. Odinson?
The child is very observant, likely because she seems to spend most of her time at a bar.
A dive bar. A bar full of apparently the types that, well, in this case, kick jukeboxes and also inhale certain choice powders.
Should I be calling child services?
Mother's
Adamant that
dressed,
we.
but she seems fine.
She's the kind of woman that, honestly, I would have begged every single god in this universe to let me have as a rival.
How is that an endorsement?
She's very, very forceful.
I think she probably has to be.
I like her.
Why would you want that as a rival?
Rival, she says.
Yes, that's what I mean. Why would you want someone that forceful as a rival?
Look, keeping someone like that as a first mate would just lead to
Mutiny?
authority conflicts.
Mutiny.
Yeah. By contrast, having a rival like that, oh, that is so much.
Oh, so it's the challenge. Okay. Mr. Ellison, would you like to tell them how that went before you get too caught in the understanding that you are probably going to meet quite interesting and precocious in the strangest ways 6-year-old at your job this evening? What are you going to tell them about your day? These reports sound best coming from the people who actually saw the things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, we're not.
Trying to figure out who that was directed towards.
That was you, Rafe. Are you going to tell them what you heard in the
Oh,
cafe? Because
I'm sorry.
yeah, at this point,
I thought you were talking to Noms.
no, at this point, you remember those two were together, and
Right.
that when you came back from the cafe, these two weren't back yet. So
Sorry. Right. Basically, I didn't get much. But it's not on the outskirts. There were search parties. They went pretty deep in, but they're essentially chalking it up to bears. But yeah, it's not bears.
Mm,
So we are going to have to set up a base camp, like Miss Kim said, and go. From what they said, a third to at least a half of the way in, I'd say. I don't really remember specifics. I couldn't really take notes.
well, the good thing is that it sounds like the bar that you're going to be going into is the kind of place where if somebody wants to yell about the ineptitude of police doing searches, that would be the place where you'd be able to pick that up.
it is very true. Ms. Kim, have the authorities made any travel advisories about parts of the forest to avoid?
Funnily enough, no.
Hmm.
They. It's strange. I tried to get in touch with them, basically saying, I'd heard some rumors just to get a feel, and they. That's the thing. They didn't laugh it off, and they were trying to sound condescending, but they didn't quite, if you see what I mean. You know that it's not just I'm not allowed to say anything because it's part of my job either. There's three different tacks you take when you're trying to tell someone that the rumors that they're telling you they heard are nonsense. There's, oh, aren't people ridiculous? No, of course there's nothing like that, and meaning it. There's condescending, oh, isn't that cute? The little tourist believes everything they ever hear. But no, no, you're fine. You're just fine, little lady. Wasn't that either. It was more that, oh, please don't avoid the forest. Please go in there. That's fine. Not saying it outright, Mr. Ellenson, but that
That is
that
concerning.
that tone that's trying very hard to keep people from worrying about going in there. And I think they're probably happier about it being tourists because if it's locals, people notice.
Mm. Is worrying indeed.
But again, with liquor loosening some lips, um, hopefully you'll be able to get. Hang on, if Mr. Ellison is bouncing and you're playing, Mr. Ellison, I take it Ms. Zong is going to be getting information out of people?
If she can do so discreetly.
I am very capable of being a bar patron.
Well, yes,
After
that
all.
was not in doubt.
But, can I remind you of your 3-month rampage through just about every bar in Japan in, what was it, 1973?
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to need to avoid anything that sounds like a rampage.
Centauro time. Yeah, I'll avoid the rampaging.
Should I go to?
If you like.
Just of the two of us, which do you think might actually focus on the information in hand?
Hmm.
Rafe doesn't say anything, just emphatic point at Miss Kim. Without missing a beat. Just,
I mean, let's be fair, he's not wrong.
sorry, Suyen. Love you.
However, that does mean one thing that scares me more than just about anything else. That's either has faced us or is going to face us. Miss Young, I may have to borrow an outfit. I don't really have the clothes for a dive bar.
Yeah, Rafe is looking really worried about that. Just, oh, good gods.
The eyebrows gone into the hair.
Remember, we're trying to be discreet, Suyin.
Or I could just go shopping, but I don't really know what people wear at dive bars. I can figure something out. I don't like that expression. I'm going to go figure something out. Thank you.
I can manage discreet. Don't worry about it.
She's already gone.
Damn it! And I'm running after her.
Suyin!
No, wait!
Okay, I'm gonna ask for a grapple check from just an athletics check from Rafe.
Okay. There's athletics. Clicking. 21.
Can I avoid this in any way?
You can.
Limbo under it.
Hang on, let me have a quick check your character sheet and see what we have. You can try acrobatics.
20.
You came so close, but he's got you by the scruff of the neck, and you just hear the back door click.
It's not as if they're expecting a height of fashion in such a place, Suyin.
That's not what I was on about. And being held up by the scruff, up comes a foot,
No.
and goes to boot, and out comes one knife, out comes another knife. I drop those, and I'm just pulling out weaponry at this point.
Suyin.
Oh.
You can do that after she has clothes.
Yeah. But in the meantime, at this point, there's just like a pile starting to form.
And that's around the point at which Ketty realizes that Ingrid must have seen every single one of those fucking knives. And around about the point at which Suyin has brought out all but that last secret knife that nobody, that last little one, when they give you that one last little when it's all but that last holdout one, that's when Suyin realizes it too.
Huh. Whew, boy.
This is for Rafe. This is now entirely different. I mean, she stopped dumping the knives, and now she's just going, "Huh," and sounds almost amused. And it's not at you.
Letting go, backing
I
away
love that
slow.
kid even more now. Click the boot heels, pop out the boot knives, detach those.
and now she's talking. Oh, come on! Is somebody going to explain that for poor Rafe?
That's the woman who runs the bar. She has a daughter, and her daughter is the one who led us there.
Yeah, you said.
Her daughter is very observant. She probably saw every single one of those on my person.
And she noted it was exceptional because usually people only carry one knife.
I have a collection. I don't like to get parted from my collection.
I mean, okay, I get what you mean. Okay. So, wow. Okay. Did she say anything else?
It's just
she asked if
interesting.
we were superheroes.
Ooh, what'd you say? What'd you say?
I did not confirm or deny.
I said no for the sake of discretion.
Oh.
But on the other hand, you see the expression on Suyin's face. The did not confirm or deny, and then that smug.
He's like, and just looks at Suyin. So that's a yes then.
Did not confirm or deny. That girl could draw her own conclusion. She's more than smart enough to do that.
Yes. Yes,
so that's
she is.
So that's a yes. Okay.
Anyway, I'm gonna put my collection back on.
Rafe is wait. What was that word again? Where something happens, only it's really appropriate that it happened, except it's not appropriate. There was metal involved.
Irony.
Yes. I get to be Captain America in Germany.
And to be fair, you probably even have the Captain America shield t-shirt.
Yo.
Yep.
Me slowly reassembling the collection.
And it probably takes until Kim comes back for the last of the knives. It always takes longer to tuck them back in than it does to bring them out.
Yep.
And,
one tucked in, fit the last boot knife back on, click. There we go.
And she comes back in with the shopping bag. It's just jeans, t-shirt.
That will be fine for blending in.
Those will definitely work.
I might borrow one of Mr. Ellison's shirts as a jacket. Yeah, one of the
Yep, can do.
flannel ones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. I was just running through my head what would work. Yeah. Yeah.
I also Rummage's smaller bag also brought lunch. Do I have to feed us dinner?
No.
Okay.
Oh, because we'll be working. Right. Okay.
She said she would provide meals as part of payment.
Okay.
Well, since you have
It's been a while
got
since
your own outfit,
Wow.
we're still gonna need to outfit you with a few of Flick hand becomes a knife.
Flicks around.
So you
knife.
know that Rafe will be there and even acting officially in the
I love
capacity
you.
of announcer.
Marry me.
I don't think that's legal in some places anyway. She tucks the knife back into his sleeve. That's why I need a jacket.
Rafe will get up and go over to his stuff and
Not
rummage through.
now. Eat your lunch.
Oh, okay.
I won't need it until tonight, as I can still wear my blazer. But she does pull up the arm of blazer and blouse to the spring-loaded clip on forearm.
Right.
I reiterate my earlier statement. I love you. Marry me.
Do you really want to be a widow for an undisclosed number of centuries?
It's not fun. Well, not centuries, but still.
Cogitating. Come back to that.
Suyin.
I'm going to have my sandwich now.
I'm going to go read.
And since the thing I have in mind at the dive bar is going to take longer than half an hour, now is probably a good time to leave it because it's a little wonky for me right now because my clocks went back in the middle of this and I don't know exactly when they went back, but they did. So I'm assuming they're back by now. It says it's like 25 to 2.
Couldn't
Yeah,
even
so
begin
5
to
out.
guess when they got rattled back or what they're set to.
Wait, so 9, 10, 11, 12, 1. So, but it's quarter to 2. So.
Well, currently in New York, it is 9:35. So
Yes, exactly.
Mhm.
So that's a 5-hour. 4, 5?
so yeah, which means the clocks did definitely go back for me at some point. So we are like 25 minutes from the end of session, and it's going to take longer than 25 minutes, and I'm not staying up for another hour because it'd be late for you anyway, and thing. And yes, keep in mind, just remember you guys are starting at the same time tomorrow because it's better for me and Marion to start early.
Correct.
So I figured it out. I keep reminding myself of this every time the time change bullshit goes sideways. Every time it's me and Marion that start an hour earlier, whether it's the clocks going forward or the clocks going back, because of the curvature of the Earth, we go back sooner. You go forward sooner.
That makes sense now. Finally.
Yeah, I figured this out the last time, but I'm trying to remind myself of it and keep reminding myself of it until the spring bit, because always the spring bit that throws me. But it's always just because of how the sun works and all the various Earth rotation bits of thing, how all that works. It always means that it's going to be us around about the Greenwich Mean Line that start an hour earlier, which works out because we stay up obscenely late for all of this anyway. So I will see you all tomorrow, and when we come back next week, the unnamed dive bar will have interesting bardic presence, among other things. Later, guys.
Take care.